Here we go then. You'll see here I've got a brand new wing and my Qualcomm Slim X light. I was trying to remember what this was called. You can see this is a really old video that I've just never had the time to produce, and what I'm doing here is I'm just using the gravity cup because I'm going to be spraying upside down. If you turn your gun upside down and just pull the fluid all the way, the bag will collapse itself within the PPS pot there, and all that will do is that will bring, because I'm going to be going upside down under this wing, it will bring the fluid right to the point where it enters the gun. It just makes life a little bit easier. But yeah, straightforward job here. Brand new wing and local to front bumper, and because this is I think it's a solid black, this colour, we're not going to bother blending. There's no point. The camera match on the car was like 99.6% or something like that, so having a match that high, there's really no point blending into a door and wasting extra materials. So this is the Standox Wet on Wet. I can't remember which way the numbers go around. This is such a long time ago this video was recorded, but it is Standox Wet on Wet. And one nice good coat. This gun's a 1.3, the Slim X Lite from Qualcomm, 2 bar, full fan, full fluid, and just get one nice coat on it. And the thing with the Standox is it has a bit of texture, but as it dries, it kind of it flattens out nice and smooth. You'll see that when we come back in with the base in a minute. And you want your base coat to look like that as well. It's a weird system, but it really does lend itself to. Let me see, I've got a nib in there. But it does lend itself really well to the next coat, and if you just follow the way that they do it, everything works. So I'm using my GTI Pro Light there, the T110 for base.
As painters, we love laying down a glossy coat of clear, achieving a beautiful finish, especially for our customers. But do you ever find the silicone or chip that's been missed during the prep, only after the vehicle's been baked? Well, PainTeX UV chip repair kit is the perfect solution. Our UV clear coat dries in 5 seconds on small silicone-sized imperfection, which is perfect for keeping the paint shop flowing, where efficiency is a must. Being able to save panels from costly reworks if the silicone is in a visible area will not only benefit the painter, but also keep profitability in the job. And not to mention, our UV torch has a perfect power output and wavelength to cure other brands' UV putties, primers, so having your own torch to hand will also help speed up the prep. The PainTeX UV chip repair system contains the UV torch, UV clear coat, 100 applicator sticks, a handy rubbing block, all contained in a handy little carry case that will fit right in anyone's toolbox. So if you require any more information, please visit the website www.paintex.shop.
We're just using full fluid, full fan, 29 psi, which is 2 bar. And I always preach edges, just making sure we're getting in there. And you see here, you'll notice, like I was just saying, look at how matte and the sheen on that wet on wet. So initially, while it was going on, it did look kind of chunky and quite orange peely, but as it dries out, it's just got this silky smooth finish to it. I'm winding the fan in a bit here. I do like to, you'll notice here, underneath the wing here, I like to blow a little bit of paint and clear coat in there. It just gives it that little bit of extra protection. And you just look at the wet on wet. Wow, before I cover it up. And there's that nib that I was talking about. I think it was just a little hair actually. It might have came out. But the point in me blowing some paint and clear behind the wing is, although it's got a wheel arch and a wheel guard there, what will happen is your dirt and dust and like wet leaves and all that stuff, some of that will stick in there, and you'll end up with like rust over time. A lot of older cars seem to have it, and working in not older, but body shops that repair older cars, you start to learn little tricks like this. So by putting a new wing on and giving it extra protection behind there, it will get some wax oil as well. It just helps the longevity of the car, which is what you want. You know, I always say these are people's pride and joy. You know, it might not be the most expensive car in the world, but this is somebody's car, so I do my best to take care of them as best we can. Take a little bit of pride in my own work as well, and just turn out as good job as possible. Again, you see the silky smooth wet on wet there, and we'll put the paint on, and it will look a little chunky, a little orange pilly, but as it dries, it's just got that silky smooth kind of finish. I'm just checking there to make sure that that little bit of fuzz is not left a mark. I mean, it's probably left a minuscule mark, but with this being a black car and the clear coat being as good as it is, you'll never see that in the end, so all is good. Again, just edges. Get down on your hands and knees if you have to. Make sure you've got underneath that bumper. The last thing you want is that going on a ramp later on, and then there being, you know, a spot of that grey primer under there that you haven't missed, you haven't got any paint on, and you have to. You'd probably have to do the same sort of local afterwards. So you know, it's not the nicest thing to get on your hands and knees to have to paint stuff, but this is the job we're in. I really do love this stand-lock system, the one coat and an effect coat over the top. So I've got all my coverage with that first wet coat, and now I'm just putting an effect coat on. Like I say, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure this was a solid black, but if it's a pearl, it's the same sort of thing. You see here, I'm just being nice and gentle near the local. You don't want any paint up now where you're going to put the clear coat and the fade out, otherwise it will look, as you're polishing it, will look like it's peeling back. Well, that's a surprise, using the GTI all the way through. Might have to think of a creative title here for the video then. But it's the same gun, exactly the same one that I used for the base, the 1.2 T110 air cap, and it's just a lovely gun. And you'll see here again the base coat. If I'm not too quick, you can see there that it's just dried silky smooth again, and that's one of the things with this system. Don't try and chase the finish. Let the paint do its thing, and you'll end up with a real nice finish. I really do rate the stand-lock system, or I should say the Exalta system, because they do have Speedzeker High-Tech is essentially the same product. It's a more high-end version of it. I do think they have slightly better tinters and things like that, but this stand-lock system is phenomenal. And you see I'm just opening the fan all the way out again. I'm just coming in with my first coat, which is kind of a 75% coat. It's not fully wet, but it's not a dry coat either. It's not like a grip and a rip. I do want to have two coats. And the same thing here. You'll see I'm quite robotic. I start in the same place, I finish in the same place, but it allows me to keep track of where I am during the job. You see here, just letting the gun do its thing. Give it 5 minutes. So I like to do a 5 minute in between coats. It seems to work the best for basically all clear coats. If you make sure you give it a good 5 minute flash. I mean, you can do a tacky test where you put your finger in a part of the job that you can't see, probably on the tape or off the panel somewhere where there is some overspray. If it's stringy, it's still too wet, and then if it's... But there is a point, you don't want it to be too dry as well, so that there's a bit of experience that goes with judging it. But if it's tacky and it's not stringy, that's the perfect time to get your second coat on. And you can see there, it's got a little bit of texture, a little bit of orange peel. Nothing crazy. Again, just making sure that we get under there enough. And you'll notice there that I've got the fade out thinner on the floor ready as well. I like to put mine on as soon as possible. I have done some videos in the past where we put it on during before the first coat. You can put it on first. It does work, and you get a real nice transition. But I have found this Standox aerosol fade out thinner is a phenomenal product. It does the job. It does exactly what I want when I want it, no matter how I apply it, so I'm happy with that. You'll see as well, I'm just taking the clear coat slightly further than I did the first coat. It just means when it comes to the transition between the old clear coat and the new clear coat, that there isn't such a big build as if there was two coats all the way up to the edge. So this is kind of what I was talking about. I'll move that back and I'll put the fade out on first, and then I'll clear coat into it. Just combining the old with the new, and then just pull that further so it's just fade out on fade out. Then just get a nice... It's just I'm trying to bring an even finish from old to new, and you don't want to have a big chunky edge. This one's a little bit more cheeky down here because it is low down, but it's the same thing. Just put a nice coat on. And that's just about it with this job. You'll see, give the clear coat enough time, and it flows out. It doesn't move a lot, but that's what I was saying. If it's kind of got a little bit of texture to it, it's not a problem. Don't worry so much. You know, there's nothing wrong with this job here at all. Nice and clean, good finish. Happy days. Bolt the wing on, put its wheel back on. I believe it's having a tyre change, this one, and jobs are good in. Must have missed the back of that wing there. Happy days.